You loved it or you hated it or you're part of those console wars, we have 10 new games that were announced at the event. Now, just a disclaimer, Halo isn't in this list because we know it exists. It has already been announced. Same thing like with Rare's Everwild, Hellblade 2, The Medium, Crossfire X. Despite us seeing things like that again that we've already known about, we've got quite a bit of new stuff, actually more than 10. But let's get started off with number 10 and talk about As Dusk Falls. This is actually a Xbox Game Studios game, and it's a new studio from a Quantic Dream veteran. As you know, Quantic Dream, the people behind Detroit Become Human and Heavy Rain, obviously that comes with a lot of storytelling pedigree, and this new studio, Interior Night, is going with something pretty different here. Actually, not really what I was expecting. This is a story-based adventure that takes place in the American Southwest, and it looks like it focuses on multiple characters. It looks like it has family drama, it has crime and heists and robberies. It's got a very interesting art style that seems like it's in-game, but I'm curious to see what the actual gameplay is going to be here. And interestingly enough, the story is ambitious and set to take place over the span of 30 years, tackling multiple generations of people, all kind of stemming from one event that went down. Apparently there's a hostage situation and lots of trauma and something to be unraveled, and we're curious to see where this one goes. Now, next up at number 9, we have the new Forza Motorsport. This is from Turn 10 Studios once again, and we don't know too much about it other than the fact that it exists and it's going to be pretty. I feel like every time we get a new Forza game announcement, that's basically the gist of it. Hey, it's coming out and the cars are going to be really shiny. But this time, it's a next generation console, so it's going to be 4K, 60 FPS, and they mentioned ray tracing. And from the little bits of the game we got to see, it was more of a focus on interior stuff and the detail of the cars. Yes, the cars look incredibly highly detailed. But I've been saying it before, and I'm probably going to repeat myself multiple times in this video. YouTube and Twitch streams don't really get across like high quality gameplay on a good monitor with good hardware. So this just kind of seemed like another car game to me, but still, it's something to look forward to at the very least because the Forza games are just great racing games. Now, next at number 8, we have a nice surprise game called The Gunk. This is from Thunderful Publishing. This is going to be a console launch exclusive, and it's actually an adventure game from the SteamWorld creators. Now, if you know anything about those games, you know that they're usually a little bit more two-dimensional, a little bit more indie. Here, they're jumping to full 3D environments, 3D characters, and more of a focus on action. The main character is pretty quirky, but they're equipped with some sort of like suction gun, dealing with some, I guess, quote-unquote gunk taking over the world. I don't know, I'm spitballing here, but what we did see of it does look very cool, creative, and unique, and that's something that I always want. And from this developer, I do feel like they have good ways of always kind of coming up with hooks to kind of get you addicted to the gameplay loop. I really hope the Gunk has that, because that's what made the SteamWorld games really, really special. Now, over at number 7, we have quite a surprise, but maybe not really a surprise considering Xbox's focus on Phantasy Star recently. We have New Genesis, Phantasy Star Online 2. This is from Sega. It's dropping worldwide in 2021, and it's billed as a new entry to the Phantasy Star Online 2 universe. From what we can see here, props to them, we got straight up gameplay. There's gorgeous, big environments. Characters move fast, there's flying around, and the combat looks like really exciting, good JRPG action combat, and just generally what you would expect from a Phantasy Star game, and that's pretty good. Also, this one was nice just to see pure gameplay. I think with a lot of these events, and Microsoft was no stranger to it, we got a little bit too much pre-rendered and CGI cinematic trailers. Seeing this New Genesis gameplay looks pretty sweet. Now, over at number 6, we have one that we're cheating a little bit. It's Tetris Effect Connected. Now, this is an announcement of a game that we already knew about. It's Tetris Effect, but that was primarily on PS4. Now it's coming to Xbox, and with new content, revamped single player, and something that the base game was sorely, sorely missing is a multiplayer focus, both locally and online. That is huge. Tetris Effect is a great game and an excellent revamp on the Tetris formula that not enough people talk about, and we're taking the time to talk about it right now, damn it. We're very happy that this game is coming to more platforms because it is totally worth checking out. It's unlike any other Tetris thing you've ever seen. It kind of brings Tetris to the 21st century in a way that makes sense, and it's got a really cool sense of style. It looks great with HDR, and yeah, it's just another thing to look forward to. It's simple, you know, it's not an open world action adventure game, but it's Tetris, and Tetris is still good, and this is coming, thankfully, holiday 2020. Now, next up at number 5, we have Avowed. This is Obsidian's game they are making exclusively for Microsoft once Microsoft scooped them up. And we didn't really get to see much of anything. Unfortunately, we just got a quick little kind of cinematic trailer. Definitely a disappointment, but we do know that the game is a first-person RPG set in a new fantasy world. And what we got is a glimpse of course, first-person sword combat and dual-wielding magic in your other hand, but the magic kind of looked like Doctor Strange magic, which was really cool. Still, what a lot of people are chalking this up to be, and I am too, is it's Obsidian's take on Elder Scrolls. You know, Obsidian has had their take on Fallout, and that did great. So now they're tackling something else and building their own new fantasy world from the ground up. And you know what? Let's do it. I'm really curious to see what Obsidian can do here. Again, very disappointed that we don't know anything more, but it does seem like there will be skeletons, dragons, supernatural elements, forests, woods, magic, stuff like that. Just fantasy stuff, but I'm really curious to see how Obsidian can package it with that special something. Now over at number 4, we have Warhammer 40k Darktide. This is a console launch exclusive that's coming in 2021, and this looks really damn sweet. Of course, another thing we didn't really get to see any gameplay of, but if you look at its predecessors, you know, the Warhammer Vermintide games were pretty great. So here we have the Warhammer 40k version of it. You want scarier creatures, you want sci-fi weaponry, but you want good cooperative monster blasting action. This might be your thing, because Vermintide was extremely underrated, and I expect Darktide to really surprise and blow away a lot of people. Again, really early, just throwing some speculation out there, but really, that's what we got. So over to number 3, we have Stalker 2, which is going to be an Xbox console launch exclusive. This is another game that I will admit we have known about, but it's been super quiet and low-key before this. It kind of was just announced and then kind of disappeared, and then its fate was actually in question at multiple points. Now here it is, finally in full form. Stalker 2 is a thing, and it is very much Stalker. It's that dark and gritty, you know, irradiated wasteland Chernobyl vibe type of thing, but with supernatural elements. I'm really curious to see what Stalker can do in 2020 or 2021, whenever it comes out, simply because when the original Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl came out, it really kind of blew the doors down and was pretty unique and creative for the time. But now we've seen so many other games that have so many other survival type elements like this and RPG elements that I'm curious to see what Stalker 2's new spin will be. Maybe it doesn't need one. Maybe it can just be Stalker and it could be really good. I don't know. Either way, just keep an eye on this one. It's probably going to be awesome. Now over at number 2, we have State of Decay 3 announced from Undead Labs with, yes, another cinematic trailer, but it brings with it a completely different vibe that I did not expect. It looks way more of like a cold, harsh fall, winter type of thing with a bigger emphasis on the zombified animals. You see a zombie deer in this, which is something I don't think I've ever seen before in a zombie thing. But that's it. That's really all we have from this, at least. I expect, since this is probably a ways out and with a new console, Undead Labs is really going to go back to the drawing board, because State of Decay 2, I definitely had my problems with it at launch, but as it grew, as they added to it, as they fixed it, put in new content, it became a much stronger offering. So I'm really excited to see where they take it with this third one, whether it's in a completely different direction or just an improvement upon its predecessors. Either way, it's a new game, so we win. Now finally, down to number 1, we got the big announcement that Fable is returning. And yes, it is from Playground Games, the guys behind the Forza Horizon spin-off series. And that's it. That's all we got. We got this quick, goofy, lighthearted trailer highlighting a fantasy world. We have what sounds like the original voice actor returning from the original games, and yeah, Fable, that's it. Basically, the rumors that have been going on forever are true. What are they actually doing with this game? The rumors have suggested a type of reboot, but there is so little to go on with that trailer, we can't really do anything but speculate and just hope that it's good. Hopefully it can live up to like the high concepts and dreams of the original series, because it was always lofty and ambitious, and even though it stumbled over itself here and there, we still couldn't help but love those games. Hopefully this new one lives up to all that and more. Those are the top 10 things announced, but we actually have more than that for you. Some bonus games. These were announced during the pre-show. One of the biggest ones, Balan Wonderworld from Square Enix and some legendary Japanese developers. Then we also got Echo Generation. We got new Outer Worlds content called Peril on Gorgon coming soon. And Hello Neighbor 2. Hello Neighbor has garnered a surprise